Hello guys, today I'll show you how to perform CRUD operation using React and Redux. So this is what we are building. We'll building the three form, we'll type the name as name and email as whatever. I've not done any validation here. You can add that, and password, whatever you can type. And when you submit it, this will show up, and when you want to update, you just have to click and you can update to anything, and just update it and the thing will change. If you want to delete it, just click delete and it will delete it. So this is what we are building. So hope you'll enjoy and learn something. Thank you. So let's create a byte project. You just type npm create byte at the latest and give it a project name and go inside that folder, and we'll install some packages Redux.js/toolkit React Redux. That's all, and just wait for it to install. And once it's installed, let's run the server npm run dev and go to the app.jsx and delete everything, and we'll create one other component that will do the form. RAFCE shortcut, ES7 shortcut, you can install that extension and just import that form just down here. And now let's create the form. Start by creating the form and give it a label and input type. That will be name. We'll adding 3 input type: name, email, and password. So let's create the state for that. We'll create an object, one for the name. Initial state will be empty, email and password. Okay, that's all. Now copy the label and input. Okay, give the value to form.name. On change, let's handle on change, and we'll create that function to handle change. It'll just get the value and set the value to set form value. This is like normal, everyone knows that. So let's copy that a couple of times, 3 times, and one more input field for submit. And let's add on submit. Whenever the form is submitted, then the data will be sent to the Redux store. So let's first of all prevent the default behavior of submit, which will reload the page, but we don't want that. And just set up that, and you have to give the name also, because we are using that in handle change. So all done here. Now let's create a store. To create a store, let's create a folder, name store, and store.jsx. This will be our store. Let's import the configure store. Store from Redux-Toolkit. Yes, and now let's create the store. We're exporting the configure store. It will be an object reducer. We haven't created any reducer, so let's create that one. Let's create the slice. We need to import the slice. From slice we create a reducer, and let's export. Let's just export it. Create slice will also take an object. The first name will be name. Name you can give anything, and it will have an initial state. Let's suppose it will have an items array, and last a reducer. here you create the reducer, like adding, deleting, and updating any stuff. And we will pass to object. This is the function. Okay, this is the function that takes two parameter. And first of all, let's state.item means the initial state, and inside initial state there is items, and we're just pushing everything that we get from that form to that initial state, I mean that items. So we are getting email, name, and password. So from action.payload means the thing that we receive. Okay, and we're just setting that name equals to name. We are creating that object whose name and name value is from here form. And now we need to import some module, useSelector and useDispatch, to show the data that is stored in the store. So now here inside store we need to configure the store, the reducer, initialize, define the reducer. So let's export this reducer and go to the store and just write any name, whatever name you can, and let's import that reducer. You can give anything name, that whole slice thing, and you need to initialize that. Now our store is completed. Now let's go to the main function and wrap that store or the reducer inside the main function, so that everything in the main function can use that, every component can use that. So store and store, so we just use the provider, and provider is the store, this thing, and this thing, all the activity can be done by any component that is inside the main function. So let's export this AddItems to, and now use dispatch. We're just initializing the dispatch. And now useSelector is used to view the store data. So useSelector, and that's a state. First of all, the initial state, that state is inside state. But now we need to go to the store. Okay, store name is Redux and reduce, and we need that items from there. So it's giving us an error. State okay, we have made that mistake. Okay, now let's show the data that we received from there. All you can do is map. This is the array, remember, item, and we are just mapping it. And now let's show the name. To show the name, all.name. Okay, everything has same, so let's define another name to the label, change the label. And now so what's printing. Let's console log items. It'll show the items. Okay, this is an empty array. Now let's dispatch. Let's add this whole thing, the form data, to the slice. Add items to add items. So just add items. We need to import that too. We should have auto imported, but it didn't. So let's see what's the problem there. So just you have to do it manually. Add items, and we pass all the form data right to it. So it's saying we haven't exported it. Okay, we have export now. Now it will work perfectly. You can see the data has been shown. So first operation is done. Two operation is done. One is we have successfully added, and second we have shown that data too. So there was a problem that child component should have the key, unique key. So let's create that ID. So let's give the email and let's create an id will be like form.length +1. That will give a +1 to each record. Now here also we need to get that id items, and let's give that id to there, all.id. Okay, done. And now when we create that, okay, we haven't received yet that id. Okay, we have now received that id, so it will work. We don't need that. So now go and change it, so there's no problem there. Again, add it. Okay, now again it's showing that id. So let's create use another module, npm module, that's UUID. That will give us a better way of doing this, defining each id. So let's install that. Just click npm install UUID and import that module. Go to the top and import b4 as UUID from UUID. Just a couple of in a new version. So now once you do that, now you can just say const id equals to, we're providing that id to it. Okay, now let's pass that id instead. Okay, now it will give the better id. No matter how many you gives, see that id, it's very unique. Each one will receive the unique id. It is better than before. So now we have completed that operation. Now let's create for update and delete. Let's create a button. This will be for update and this will be for delete. Let's perform the delete action. So go to the slice and let's perform that. Create a new reducer called delete item. State an action, same thing. And this time let's filter. If the id matches that thing, then we will not show that item. So state.items.filter and stat, we'll just get that id from the state that is stored and the id that is passed from the form. Let's pass that id to. Now first we need to export that, and here we import it. On click dispatch. It's one-liner, so we'll not create another function. First thing is id will pass that id, and all.id is that id. Okay, so once we have done it, and let's delete it. Yes, it's deleting perfectly. So now let's create for update. Update thing is a little bit tricky because you need to create a whole different form field and other stuff. So let's do that too. Go inside the form and on click. First thing that we'll do is create two new state. That will be for storing the id and one for saying if it's really edit, if it is said to be update. So one for edit and one for id. Storing that id will send that id to the store or the reducer. So on click we'll set the id to this id. We'll store this id in a variable useState, and also we'll say that its state is true. In default it will be false, but whenever it's clicked, then it will turn to true, and when it's true we will show another form. So now let's copy this whole form. It's showing another error. Let's do it from start. Let's copy it from the form. Okay, closing tag and opening tag. Okay, copy it and paste it. Now we need to do some modification here again. Handle update first of all. Handle update. And handle update, you can just copy and paste that thing. Okay, and let's create a new state that will store the updated data, updated form data. Okay, that's done. And now let's initialize that to the form too, form input too. And we don't need that too. ID name, password. Okay, updated form, because we're storing that. Let's export this update thing also. Now here, update items. Okay, now it's done. Handle update. It'll handle update, not the form.password, but update form, from where the value will be from updated form. That's all. Let's say that's update, the button name, the submit. Now in here, we first of all, let's go to the inside the initial state and get the data from there and check if the ID matches. If that ID matches from the ID that is passed from the form, right, then only we will run this. And here we'll replace the value, like we'll replace the name with the new value that has been sent from there. We'll change email and password to email and state dot password, and let's export that, import that thing. This destructuring extended from payload, we need to actually give that value, not create the object. And we are replacing the value, not creating new object. So yeah, now the update thing is done. And let's see, try this thing. And when you click update, that new form appears, but it's not giving us to handle thing. It's not giving us to put anything. So let's go there and check it again. Okay, where did we go wrong? I think, and that's in handle update thing. Okay. I see that. So that is I have to create one for handle change. So now let's change that to handle update change. And let's copy it. Let's press and create a new function that will handle update change. Like putting that value to the updated data. And just copy the everything. You can just copy it. And here, set form, instead of the set form, we will be using set updated form, right? And in form, yeah. Okay, we are able to use it. Now it's done. and set it. Whenever we click the submit update, then it should remove that thing. Yeah, okay, that's working perfectly fine. Now all things are working perfectly fine. So this is all 4 operation we have done it. So I'll give you an overview of how everything works here. First of all, you create a folder store that will install a store that will keep the reducer, and that reducer can have the name, object, and that reducer is from the slice, and create a slice to create a reducer, and we create that will have the name, initial state, and the reducer. Reducer can be multiple reducer, like one for adding, one for deleting, and one for updating, and we need to export those module to. And just for the add item, we just getting the data and using that. For delete, we just get ID, and whichever it doesn't match, we don't show that item. And for update, we just get the updated data and replace that value with the updated data. And inside the form, I think you guys know it pretty much. This is the provider, the store, main component that we have wrap. So anything inside the app will get it, main function will get it. So here we just useSelector is used to get the data from the store, that item, state.reduce.items, install state. So make sure you understand this term very well. It's not dot reduce only dot reducer. Okay. Inside install state, there is also an array items. So rest of the stuff is pretty much the same. We have done that 2-3 times before too, so I don't think I need to make this thing clear. You guys know it, you have done it before. But this dispatch will be using to actually running that reducer, so you need to understand that. And rest of the thing is pretty much same. We are just using the show items to show, creating a div. There's a button, delete, and for update. So that was end of the video. I hope you had enjoyed what we did. In next video, I'll be coming with some mon stack. So wait till then, and like this video, subscribe the channel. Okay, see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.